let's get more on the wild markets from our Uncle Lee Munson of Portfolio Wealth Advisors, joining us from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Lee, what are your thoughts on the past few days? What happened?
Well, oh, I love it. This is going to go down. You know, you had like Ebola crisis. I remember the flash crash. And I think this is going to be the short volatility squeeze crash. So, I mean, last time I was there in the studio, we were talking about some article about a guy in Florida trading from his house that was making millions and millions doing a single directional bet called Crush the VIX. And at the time, I was talking to some of the producers back in the green room saying, aren't you jealous of this guy that he's like, you know, making all this money? But I think yesterday, a lot of those people got wiped out. Here's what I think we have to remember. We can't take away the facts the VIX did jump up to almost 40. And if I was looking in a vacuum and I didn't have the context that these were these ETNs that were problematic, I would say this is a sign of more to come. So while we were in there taking some profits, buying, we're doing a lot of buying and selling yesterday because, come on, it's obvious. It's a day for deals. I think that you have to have a little bit more reserved capital. If you look past in the last 30 years, and really in the past 5 or 6, we haven't had big 20% declines. We almost had in 2011, though. So I think investors need to know that don't be lulled into the false sense of buy every dip. We could see this thing go down to 2,500 on the S&P like a heartbeat. And if it is, that's really my next move. So yesterday was taking some profits over the past year. But when you think about a deal, if I told you we can reset prices and you can buy prices that you haven't seen in 4 weeks, that doesn't really entice me that much. So I get it. If you got new cash, invest it, but wait a little bit. Let's see if this thing starts careening down below. My new number on the S&P is 2480. Not that I really know where it's going to go, but that's where I'm going to buy next. So a word to the wise. All
right, we got to get a word to the wise from Ryan here, because Ryan, you think this is a time to buy?
Yeah, I mean, I respectfully disagree. I think right now you don't have to be that smart. I mean, if you look at the overall, nothing's really changed. You know, earnings are stronger and stronger. If you look at companies globally around the world, you know, I think we're in a big booming bull market. You don't, if it goes another 5% down, 10% down, it's not going to matter when we look back a year from now. Markets are probably going to be a lot higher just based on you know, where we're at in the cycle.
Hey, Lee, what's going to drive it down? What do you? Why do you have that target and that outlook? What has fundamentally changed for you?
Well, I manage almost 300 million, so it does matter. Another 5% down at the end of the year because my clients live off this money. I'm still bullish, right? But I think that you have to understand we could get just a very few profit warnings or just something not work right in the tech sector, because what's really going to bring this thing down are the earnings and the perception of the big FANG stocks. So I was there for .com, and all you need is a little profit growth. The profit growth is going to slow down, or the ad sales are just going to stumble. It doesn't even have to be material news. It just has to give the perception that something is wrong, and this thing moves down. So watch for any type of profit softness. That's what you're looking for. But if not, I'm happy if I don't buy anything this year. Right? Because I agree on the big level. I think we go higher at least this year. For another year, I think it's clear sailing.
Yeah. I think we're light years away from the dot-com bubble. I mean, you had valuations 20, 25 times earnings. I mean, we're at 17.8 times future earnings. That's not that expensive. Also, no one's in this market. Again, you've got 9.5 trillion in cash. You just don't have people invested like you did in the past. And you always want to stay diversified. I mean, you have to have your bonds. You have to have your money in other places. But I think it's crazy to try to time the bottom of the market here. You know, bottom line is you got a gift from the gods here. If you have money in cash, here's your shot to get invested.
Ali, what about this idea that this is just healthy? We really needed this, and this is a sign of a better things to come for this market?
I think so, but you know what? A healthy pause is seeing a 2 or 3 week decline or a month of choppiness. I think that we're taking this a little bit too in stride. It's not healthy to see the VIX. I mean, if you look at a 1-year chart on the VIX, that thing looks like a parabolic disaster. So I think that we have to step back and say, hey, I get it. I like the pause. I'd like to see some more pause, and I'd like to see some bloodletting before we move back up. I mean, look at that chart. That thing is disturbing. That's not just some sort of gift. That means something could be wrong. So why not just everybody chill for a few weeks and see if we get this thing to draw lower? because I think a lot of people didn't get in yesterday, and they're going to still sit in the sidelines until you give them more than 1 day to enter. I need 3 good down days, and then I don't care what the levels are. You just grip it and rip it.
Wow. So you didn't get your 3rd down day. It doesn't look like it. We're heading into the bell, and you're not going to get it. So now are you going to have to wait to have 3 more, or will you count another day that's not sequential?
I just need somewhere around 2,500 on the S&P, or else I'm good just having the market go up for another year. It's just boring out here in Albuquerque if you don't get any volatility.
We're trying to make it exciting, Lee. Poor Lee's in Albuquerque, Ryan. You get to be in New York.
Sorry, Lee. We already have the excitement here, so I think just being boring and being invested long term is enough. I don't think you have to wait for the next down day, because you might not get it, and if you don't, you may miss the upside, and that's more dangerous than missing the downside. So, just my opinion.
Hey, Lee, on Carl Icahn, the comment suggesting that these leverage ETFs and the ETNs are just going to cause the market to implode. Wise words?
Not really. I think he's just a grumpy old man. I think Carl Icahn is just sort of a green mailer.
We call him I like him.
I'm not a huge fan, but I've heard this before. I think you have to remember the nominal amount out there for these leveraged ETFs is not as big as people think. A little bit concerned about the ETNs, but I think as long as you stay away from these triple leverage stuff. We said this 10 years ago back in 2008. I bet Carl Icahn said this about the leveraged ETFs in 2008. So I don't think that's a problem, except for maybe a few firms that are heavy in these VIX short contracts. But it's a tiny part of the market. It's like Bitcoin isn't going to make the market implode either. The market's not big enough.
All right, Lee, before we let you go, just what did you think of the crazy, wild swings today? And we don't even know where we're going to end. What's going on? I've been talking to you.
We're up 500.
There we go. We're still up 500. So
this looks good. I like these crazy swings. When I look at this type of crazy swing that I'm looking on the screen, this to me is more bullish, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm still a bull. I'm still a long-term investor. I'm fully invested. But all my clients have bonds because that's just how I run my business. And I think that this makes it more. I'm more comfortable with a chart like that today, when we see this next leg down, to get aggressive. But I think that we all make good points today. Remember what Uncle Lee says. You may not get that next chance to get in. Yesterday could have been the only chance. I'm just saying, don't go chasing it today. Just wait, just relax.
Uncle Lee, I want to get credit for naming you that. I think Albuquerque is really exciting. I love it. It's great to talk with you. We're going to let you get back to work as we head into the close. Lee Munson, thanks so much.
Thank you.